All right. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. We are back, continuing with our look at the annual Torah portion. This week's portion is Shelach Lecha. Shelach Lecha, which is send thou out. Shelach Lecha. Numbers 13, verse 1, all the way up to 15, verse 41. Numbers 31, verse 13, verse 1, all the way up to 15, verse 41. I wanted to spend a little bit of time with this particular portion because when we think about Israel and its journey through the wilderness, that journey, that time, that experience was what it was because of what happened in this Torah portion. It didn't have to be what it was, but it was what it was. And it was what it was because of what happens in these chapters and verses. So, because of that, I wanted to take a look at some of these things here and try to see if we could get a little bit of understanding as to some of the whys.
So this is Shelach Lecha.
Shelach.
And, I just wanted you to hear that Shelach, which is Shlachim.
Shlachim.
Yeah.
Shelach.
Shlachim.
Same thing.
The spies were the Shlachim.
They were, in fact, the Shlachim because they were sent out. And they were multiples. So there's a few things that I wanted to look at here. First of all, if we go to Numbers 13 and read, let's read, there's a few significant things that I want to point out. So let's read 1 through, I want to spend a little bit of time here. Let's read 1 through 16 here.
It says, let me pull it up here on the screen. There we go. It says, and Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, send men to spy out the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the children of Israel. Send one man from each tribe of their fathers, every one a leader among them. And by the mouth of Yahweh, Moshe sent them from the wilderness of Paran, all of them men who were heads of the children of Israel. And these were their names: from the tribe of Reuben, Shammah, son of Zaccur; from the tribe of Shimon, Shaphat, son of Hori; from the tribe of Yehuda, Caleb and Yephuneh; from the tribe of Issachar, Yigal, son of Joseph; from the tribe of Ephraim, Hoshea, son of Nun; from the tribe of Benjamin, Palti, son of Raphu; from the tribe of Zebulun, Gadiel, son of Sodi; from the tribe of Joseph, from the tribe of Manasseh, Gadi, son of Susi; from the tribe of Dan, Amiel, son of Gemali; from the tribe of Asher, Shatur, son of Mikael; from the tribe of Naphtali, Nabi, son of Wolfshi; from the tribe of Gad, Geuel, son of Maki; These are the names of the men whom Moshe sent to spy out the land. And Moshe called Hoshea the son of Nun, Yehoshua, and oh yeah, yep.
All right, so first of all, we go back to the beginning here. Again, the Torah portion, Shelach. In verse 2, it says, "Send men, or send thou men, to spy, to search out." I want to look at spy out. Spy out. I'll look up that word there in verse 2, the second verse. In the scriptures version, it says spy out. In other versions, it has some related things there, but we want to look at what that is. Hebrews 8:4-6, translated as spy out. Put that up there on the screen for us there. That word there is tour. To meander. Meander is an interesting word. When we think about meandering, it's not really something that's... Meandering is kind of like you're just not doing anything, is it? You're kind of just wandering. Here, let's see what the 1828 has to say about meandering, because that's interesting. That word means to do that. Fine. Put that up there on the 1828.
It says a winding course, a winding restraint in a passage.
What is it?
As the meander. It says a winding course.
A winding course.
A winding or journey.
If I'm trying to get somewhere, I'm gonna go, you Google something and Google takes you the fastest route. It don't take you in a route that causes you to meander, where you're just going all over the place.
That's why I don't like that.
However, it's interesting when we think about the fact that if, how it's translated to spy out the land, to look about the land. If you want to see all of the things, you kind of have to meander. Because it's not just about going to the land. Once you get to the land, you're looking at it. You want to see what's what. Right? And so we'll think more about this idea of meandering later. But when we think about here, with the idea of sending these meanderers out to the land, we see a few things here. First of all, they take the heads of each tribe and send them to spy out the land. And we notice that of the 12 spies, in verse 16, where it says that Moshe called Hoshea, the son of Nun, Yehoshua. So he's listed, we see him in the list of the tribe of Ephraim as Hoshea, but Moses, it says, calls him Yehoshua. So he goes, it's interesting that this happens as they're beginning to go into and spy out, to meander around this land. He takes the one who is called Hoshea, or what means to deliver, or what means salvation, and says that his name now is Yahweh is salvation. So he looks to this person whose name signifies the idea of deliverance, whose name signifies the idea of salvation, and he says, from henceforth, it's not about you. It's not about what you're capable of doing, but it's about what the Most High is able to bring out in and through you. And so it's almost as if with this particular person being who he is, Joshua, we already know that he already has the mind of the Father. Already. He's already about the Father's business. He's already about seeing, about being close to the Most High and the things that the Most High would have to be done. But it's almost as if that thought process that he has is kind of fortified and then elevated when he actually, Moses here, adds the yod to his name. When he takes the meaning of his name and transforming it from what he as an individual is capable to do, and transforms it into what the Most High is capable to do. So it's interesting as they get ready to go forward that is what happens. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the fact that I want to ask the question of why. Why, what reason would the Most High have to tell Moses to send these people out to spy out this land? Knowing what's going to happen. Like what could have possibly been the best case scenario here? Well, let's first read 17 through 20. Let's go to Numbers 13 and read verses 17 through 20, because we kind of have a why, but it seems like there's still the question of why. But go ahead and read that for us, verse 17 through 20.
It says, and Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said to them, go up into the south and go up into the mountains and see what the land is like and the people who dwell in it, whether strong or weak, whether few or many, and whether the land they dwell in is good or evil, whether the cities they inhabit are in camps or strongholds, and whether the land is rich or poor, and whether there are forests or not, and you shall be strong and bring some of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the season of the first fruits of grapes.
Okay, very good. So, the why, part of our why is answered. You said, go in there, see who is in there, and find out if they're strong or if they're weak. Find out if there is a few of them or if there's many of them. Find out if they got camps or if they got strongholds. Find out if they're rich or if they're poor. He said find out if there's forests there or if there's not.
Forest or what?
If there's forests or not. Right?
Oh, forests.
Yeah. And so when you think about this from a perspective of they already know that they're going, like this is the land that the Most High has promised to them. So at some point there's going to be a conflict. And again, these people aren't warriors. They're just regular people. They're not trained in battle. And so I'm just saying from my perspective, I would think that it probably to me, in my flawed mind, would think that maybe I don't want to go over there. Like I don't want to know what I'm getting myself into. Just go ahead and just do whatever I got to do.
I mean, you've experienced that before. Because we were looking at making a purchase, and I'm like, you want to know what the list of problems are? With like, whatever it is, we're gonna have to fix it.
I mean, that's basically it.
We need a preview of it before.
Yeah, so it's like you know that you're walking into conflict. You know that from the beginning. But the Most High has them go and to see what they're facing, which it seems becomes their issue. It becomes the problem from what they see. And knowing that the Most High knows all things, he already knows what's going to happen. I'm just wondering if there's a point that this whole thing goes like further than anticipated. Like maybe the Most High is going to send the people in there knowing that these people are going to have the reaction that they have, but then maybe they take their reaction just like they take it too far. Like he knew that there was going to be intimidation, but maybe they just take it like too far. It's interesting when we look at some of these things in here, when we go down, it mentions in verse 20 that this was the time of the first fruits of grapes. And so if we go down, let's see, look at verses 23 and 24.
They came to the Wadi Eshkol and cut down from there a branch with one cluster of grapes, and they bore between two of them and a pole also of the pomegranates and of the figs, that the place was called Wadi Eshkol because of the cluster which the men of Israel cut down from there.
Okay, so they go and get a cluster of grapes. I just want to say that someone who has a grapevine, I've cut down clusters of grapes in my day. It only takes one guy to carry the cluster. I could probably hold it with my 2 fingers. But this particular one, they bore it in between 2 people on a pole. Is that to say that it was so big that it had to be carried by 2 people on a pole? Like these are some GMO like grapes.
Watermelon grapevine.
Actually, the GMO grapes are small. Seeds. Real ones are bigger with seeds.
I mean, but these are humongous. It takes 2 people to carry them, right? And so when we see that, it's interesting going forward, finding out about this land, because the Most High told for the people to go and see whether the land was good, the land, whether it was good or whether it was evil. It seems like it was good. It's plentiful, right? It's fruitful. It has these giant grapes there. But when we keep on going, we see, if we drop down, look at 27 and 28. 27 and 28.
And they reported to him and said, we went to the land where you sent us, and truly it flows with milk and honey, and this is its fruit.
Okay, so the land was good. They said it flows with milk and honey. Right? Which is just something that you say whenever you talk about something that's plentiful. Like there's plenty of nutritious things and preserving things available. Sustenance, right? Milk and honey is sweet and it preserves, right? And there's fruit. And so when they come back, this is what they say. Yes, the land, it was amazing. And verse 28 says, what?
But the people who dwell in the land are strong, and the cities are walled very great. And we saw the descendants of Anak there too.
It says, but. The land is amazing. It flows with milk and honey. There's fruit. This is the fruit. But. It's interesting if we look at this, go to the, make it a little big, put it on the full screen and look at the Hebrew version, Hebrews 13 and 28. Because there's something interesting here when you look at this here in the Hebrew. Change the version. The version to the Hebrew version.
So you want the Hebrew words?
The Hebrew,
Old Testament plus?
yeah. It could be plus or non-plus. But I want to be able to see that verse there big. Okay, you could kind of see here on verse 28. Go to verse 28. And so in the English, you see, but the people who dwell in the land. But the people. Right? That's what it says. I think some versions say, however. Right? Some versions say, nevertheless. But it's interesting that there's two words here. This word, apes, that first word there, that word, it can be translated as, however, by itself. But it also has the idea of ceasing. And it also has the idea of an end, or like the extremity of something, or not. It's like brings like a negative connotation to the situation.
It's like a hard stop.
It is kind of like a hard stop, like a cessation, right? A stopping of things. But it's kind of what you do whenever you're talking and you say, everything's magnificent, but it's kind of like a stop there. But then look, when you look at that word, now next to it is the word key. Which if they wanted to say however, or nevertheless, or but, they really could have just put that word there. It could have just been by itself. But they kind of connect these two things together, this apes and key, as far as the fact goes, right? So it's really saying nevertheless, but, and this word here, oz, which is strong. Ha'am, the people. So the strength of the people is like doubly stopping the process here. In the minds of the people, though. Right? The so-called strength of the people that's there is doubly stopping the people, Israel, these spies here, from desiring to move forward. All right, go back to the scriptures version. And there's the descendants of Anakar there too, it says. So these people are strong. The land is mighty, but these people are strong, and there's a specific people that are there. And so they talk about, as it goes down, they talk about the fact that the Amalekites are in the south. They talk about the fact that the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites are in the mountains. It talks about the fact that the Canaanites, they dwell by the sea along the banks of the Yarden. They're going off and saying all these things. Caleb, in verse 30, comes along and he silences the people. Stop all of this. You sitting up here hyping up all these people, all like, let's just go in there and handle some business. He like, just stop all this. Like, you sitting around and like, what is it like whenever you know that this person is your adversary, but all you doing is sitting there big up in your adversary?
They get more scared.
Yeah. Like even if that is what they saw, if they saw these scary people, for them to go back in both the eyes of not only Moses and Aaron, but all of the people, for them to go back and then hype them up like that, can only, like, so it makes sense to take a chosen few to send them out to see what's what. Because they can see what's there, they can make a determination, they can even be scared. But you can't take that fear that you have then to transfer it back to the people. Like, you got to keep it to yourself, because you're only making it worse for the people.
Moses should have called a private meeting.
That's what I'm saying. Let's have the higher ups.
They should have had a private meeting. Because now they're transferring all of the things that is in their hearts to the people. And I believe that they're making things up. I'm just going to say that. I think they're making things up. Let's read. Let's read 31 through 33.
It says, but the men who had gone up with him said, we are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. And they gave the children of Israel evil report of the land which they had spied out, saying, the land through which we have gone as spies is the land eating up its inhabitants, and all the people whom we saw in it are men of great size. And we saw there the Nephilim, sons of Anak, of the Nephilim, and we were like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and so we were in their eyes.
Okay, very good. So I'm saying these people are lies. They're liars. What did they see that caused them to say that the land eats up its inhabitants? Like, what does that even mean, that the land eats up its inhabitants? Is it like full of like quicksand where they literally people like fall down into the land?
It's,
Yes. Is there like sinkholes or something?
I mean-
What does that mean to say that the land eats up its inhabitants and the people? So it's not this ain't about the people. The land eats up its inhabitants and the people are of great size that are there.
Maybe they meant everything was so big, like the grapes. It's like, it's like the land is swallowing you up because you're so small and everything is so big.
I mean, but if I'm going to this place and all of the food is gigantic, like that's only good. Like if I look around and like the grapes are like big old fat, juicy grapes. Like there's so much nourishment and things. Is it a perspective thing? Like how's it go from this thing it's magnificent to look around and you see all of this fruitful, like magnificent things. Now how you turn that into something where it's a negative thing? And there's Nephilim there too?
they believe that.
There's giants? There's giants there? Like,
You see like a whole bunch of Shaquille O'Neal running around.
yeah. And so I think that interpreters look at this, I think you come away with one thing, but what they're actually saying, I think, is a whole other thing. They very well could have been a group of people that, generally speaking, was bigger than them. That could be a possibility.
When they was eating the sick fruit, they might have been bigger.
I mean, if there was so much like nourishment, they're eating all of this nutrient-rich foods. Yeah, they just was like, they were like, they were big.
You got some African tribes that are real tall and so.
But to say we are, well, I'm saying Nephilim is a word that means tyrant. It means like scary person, basically.
So when we see a scary person, I call them that.
We see it and make it be giants. But that's not necessarily what the word itself means. But I'm saying that when you look at that verse 33, they're saying what we are to them. It says we're like grasshoppers in our own eyes. But then they start talking about what they are in the eyes of the people. And how do they know that? How do they know what Israel was in the eyes of the people?
The people wasn't even supposed to have seen them because they were supposed to.
They couldn't have known. They couldn't have known what the reverse was.
No.
Is the point.
And I don't think that the other people even saw them because how was they able to escape and get out?
Yeah, they were so terrible. Like it was so like
I mean, they were just
menacing.
stomping on them or something.
He gets stomped on.
If it was a grasshopper, you just stomp on it.
I'm saying all of that just to say that when we look over in verse 33 and see what they did, you can see the exaggeration in their explanation of what's going on. And when they start to talk about what they were in the eyes of the people, they can't speak for those people. They never talked to them. How they supposed to know?
I take a survey.
How do they know that? Like they have that added extra part in there, and it just kind of exaggerates the story. If I don't want you to do something, I'm going to make my case so that the things that I say is going to make sure that you don't do the opposite of what I'm saying. And so the fear that they had on, maybe, like I said, maybe the people were, slightly bigger than they were, generally speaking. But for them to have this this humongous amount of fear within them that was, stopping everything that they were, supposed to be doing. And besides that, the fact that you have Caleb and Joshua, who they saw the same thing that the rest of the 10 spies saw. And they're ready to go. Now Yehoshua, when we look again at the thing that Moses does with him in his name, the changing of his name, we can understand and see where, a focus on himself, his own abilities, his own strength is changed over to the Most High. And we can see that realized in both his and Caleb's actions in terms of the fact that they saw what was there. They understood what it was that the Most High was calling for them to do. Not for them to go over there and see something that was going to change the mission. But they was able to just literally go and see what the mission was, do some reconnaissance, and come back. They was ready to regroup and go do what they had to do. But these other people who saw how hard, quote unquote, the mission was going to be, and then they was ready to abort.
Yeah, question. Go ahead.
I was also make a comment that,
Okay, no, he just changed the mic.
I was going to say that the Most High also knows the end from the beginning. So you also knew that Caleb and Joshua was going to be the only two of that generation to make it into the land. So he wanted to have his name in that, like Yah is the Savior. And also Caleb, name means wholehearted or faithful. So I think it was Caleb as well as Yehoshua was the only two that came to the land. I think that is something to be noted as well.
Yes, and because of their perspective, the perspective that they had. It didn't matter to them what was over there, knowing that the Most High was the one that was leading them to begin with. It didn't matter what was over there. Right? And so, but the other thing that I think about is the fact that there is kind of like a if-then kind of a thing that happens when you look at all of this that goes. I want to look at, lastly, I want to look at in the next chapter 14, I want to, okay, so there's a few things that happen. In the 14, 1 through 4, the congregation is kind of, they're weeping and they're mourning and they're grumbling against Moses. And they're it gets down to verse 4, they're ready to appoint another leader to go back to Egypt. And so they're going against Moses, but they're also going against the Most High. Because the Most High is the one, first of all, who said that they was going to this land in the first place. This is his idea. And Moses was the one that was chosen to lead them over to this place. And then now they want to come together and change all of this. And so I want to start reading down Numbers 14, verse 20. Just because I want to think about the idea of what exactly happened, and then there's like consequences to the specific things that happen that go forth. Numbers 14, starting with verse 20.
And Yahweh said, I shall forgive according to your word, but truly, as I live, and all the earth is filled with the esteem of Yahweh, for none of these men who have seen my esteem and the signs which I did in Mitzrayim and in the wilderness, and have tried me now these 10 times, and have disobeyed my voice, shall see the land of which I swore to their fathers, nor any of those who scorn me to see, or me see it. But my servant Caleb, because he has a different spirit in him and has followed me completely, I shall bring into the land where he went, and his seed shall inherit it. Since the Amalekites and the Canaanites are dwelling in the valley, turn back tomorrow and set out into the wilderness by the way of the Sea of Reeds. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and Aaron, saying, how long shall this evil congregation have this grumbling against me? I have heard the grumblings which the children of Israel are grumbling against me, saying, say to them, as I live, declares Yahweh, as you have spoken in my hearing, so I do to you. The carcasses of you who have grumbled against me are going to fall in this wilderness. All of you who were registered according to your entire number, from 20 years old and above. None of you except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and Yehoshua, son of Nun, shall enter the land which I swore I would make you dwell in. But your little ones, whom you said would become a prey, I shall bring in, and they shall know the land which you have rejected. But as for you, your carcasses are going to fall in this wilderness, and your sons shall be wanderers in the wilderness 40 years, and shall bear your whorings until your carcasses are consumed in the wilderness, according to the number of the days in which you spied out the land, 40 days, a day for a year, and a day for a year. You are to bear your crookedness 40 years, and you shall know my breaking off.
Okay, very good. So I forgot back in verse 3, when part of their grumbling against Moses, well, they're sitting up there saying that they're going to go into this place. And why is Yahweh bringing us to this land to fall to the sword that our wives and our children become prey? And then the Most High brings that back on them, what they said in their judgment. They were so-called so worried about their little ones that the Most High in their judgment saves the little ones for them. But when you think about it, and the Most High gives this in, kind of this whole going forth of the judgment, the fact that these people, in spite of all that they saw the Most High do, which is probably the most kind of the part that doesn't make any sense. When these people literally saw all of these things that the Most High had done all the way up until this point, to think that he wasn't able to take them into this land and destroy this people by whatever means, like this was a faithless people. They were a faithless people, and the Most High wasn't going to continue with a people that was, not able to live a life of faith as they were. And so because of that, we see that the Most High sentences this people to live and die in the wilderness these 40 years until the last one dies, and then they're able to go in.
But it just seems like those people could not have been any stronger than Egypt. Egypt was the strongest nation in the area. They're not that far from Egypt.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. Like it was an unrealistic fear that they had for these people. To be able to see all that the Most High, and this is what the Most High said. You saw all the things that I did up until this point, and you still wasn't able to believe in me.
that's one of the portions of the scripture that begins with, you saw what he did to Egypt.
Yeah.
So you experienced that firsthand. So you should be like, well, I guess he's going to do another Passover.
You make the Most High, first of all, the Most High said he was going to do it. So you make him a lie to say that he can't do it.
It did say he's plotting against them to get them killed.
Yeah, like he's part of the conspiracy. Like the Most High brought us out here so we could die. And so, like the dysfunction of it all, there's no bounds to it. And so these people, they had to die. They couldn't go into the land like this.
It's true.
When you think about the people as a whole and what's happening here, the Most High wants to take a specific person into the kingdom. A person that has a particular set of characteristics, qualities.
It's a mindset.
A particular mindset has to be had by the people. And if you don't have that mindset, if you don't exhibit those characteristics, you can't be in the land.
Yeah.
The ones that exhibited the proper mindset, the ones that had and exhibited the proper characteristics, they were allowed to go in.
Yeah, them spies going to do that and then bring that report is like probably a litmus test. That was probably like to show exactly who couldn't go, to be like, all right, now it's the next process of this wilderness thing. To weed them out, because it was like, because the Most High already knew.
He already knows.
He already knew.
So really, it's just he's okay. So we have answers. We've come across answers at this point. He's done all of this not because he didn't know. He knew exactly what the people was going to do, but now he's able to show the people. He's able to show the people beforehand, this is why you're not gonna make it. This is why you're not going to make it, because I'm sending you over here and you can't see what you should be looking at. He already knows, but he needs for the people to be able to know and understand that this is the reason why you're not going to make it into the land, because you're not able to follow me. And so this whole thing wasn't for anything other than to show the people themselves and help for them to understand, what was going to be the reason why they was wandering in this wilderness all these 40 years. This faithless people. And so the other thing is that at this point, it don't seem like Moses and Aaron is part of the group over here. Right? Because they wasn't part of the thing.
Decisions and what was going on here.
Because it did say that the 20 and above, 20 and below was the ones that's going to go in. But it seems like that's just everybody else besides Moses and Aaron. Like they do the things that they do along the way that causes them to be counted in that number. But they wasn't part of the grumbling. Aaron and Moses, they hung back, right? Right, when you look at the 12 tribes, matter of fact, the Levites, wasn't even part of the thing. Right? Gad, Naphtali, Asher, Dan, Manasseh, Ephraim, Zebulun. No. So we see what happens with Moses and Aaron with their own situations that keep them out. But the rest of this faithless generation that sat up there, the whole children of Israel, all of them, they bring this evil report against the people. So, against the Most High and Moses himself. And so, kind of as we begin to, transition here and think about, the point of this wilderness experience is, like unto our life experience. As where the Most High desires for us to be a certain way when we enter into eternity with Him. And so He has us be in this situation where we're able to be refined, where we're able to be transformed, where we're able to be and go from one state to another. We're able to go from a place where we, where we're just learning about who the Most High is and going from that to having an actual relationship with the Most High and trusting Him and being obedient to His voice. And so the Most High is requiring, He always has required this of His people. And this here is a perfect example of seeing how, this is probably the number one requirement to be His people, is to be able to trust in the Most High and His words that He puts forth for us. All right. Does anybody have any last questions or comments before we go forward?
I think it parallels too when Yeshua, when he was walking, he always asked the people, do you believe I'm able to do this? And according to your belief, let it be done. So this is like a parallel to that is, do you believe the Most High is going to do what he's going to bring you to do? And these people clearly didn't believe it.
Yeah.
And so as a whole, as a nation, you see the result of not being able to do
And
it.
if you can't believe, then you can't.
It's not going to happen.
That's it.